The Goat House is back with my favorite picks and locks for NFL Week 18, the last week of the regular season. Always could be a little weird, but I do really like some of the picks that I have this week. Let's take a look. Starting with my locks against the spread, have quite a few, and my favorite one, believe it or not, is actually the Colts minus 4.5 against the Jags. And some people might be very hesitant to go with the Colts after last week. They got embarrassed by the worst team in football, the Giants, but I'm banking on the Colts being pissed off about them kind of being the laughingstock of the NFL in Week 17. They're going to play a little pissed off. And the offense wasn't the issue. The offense scored a ton of points. I think they'll do that against Jacksonville. I just don't think Mac Jones, Jags, they do enough here. They'll score a little bit. The Colts defense isn't the best, but Colts offense will get going, and they're at home in this game. They won 5 out of the last 6 against Jacksonville in Indy, and Jags are pretty bad this year. Whenever they've won, they won a couple recently as the Titans both times. So I like the Colts. I think they'll win by a decent amount of points, actually, and cover that 4.5. The 49ers, a little bit of a gut feeling here. It is a little risky because Josh Dobbs is playing quarterback. So you take away Purdy, you put Dobbs in. Of course, the Niners are worse, but maybe not in the first game, actually, because Purdy's struggling. I do think he's a lot better than Dobbs, but Dobbs, and him being that dual threat, usually it's a pocket passer for Shanahan, the 49ers. It's a tough game plan. I know the Cardinals are familiar with Dobbs, but they got to worry about his scrambling ability, design runs to him, and they got young players like Pearsall stepping up. It could be Debo's last outing here for the 49ers. So the guys are going to be going hard. They're going to be trying to win. I think Juwan Jennings could have a good game. They want to get him to 1,000 yards. Dobbs, Jennings, former Tennessee Volunteers, could be connecting in this one. And the Cardinals defense does play pretty solid, and their offense can do some damage here. They're missing both tackles. Nick Bosa had a really good game last week. He could go off in this game. I have the Niners winning. I have them winning by 1 point, so it's going to be close, and it might be a little bit of a bold pick. 4 points. It's a pretty good line. Above 3 looks pretty good. A couple first half lines that I like. The Ravens minus 10.5 against the Browns. The Browns with DTR at quarterback, and the Browns team that has given up, have some injuries. They're one of the very, very worst in football, and the Ravens are one of the best teams in football right now. The Ravens have to win to clinch the division. They're going to go out there and play very, very hard, get a big lead. They know the Browns can't come back, and then they'll probably roll in some backups. Maybe not, but they're going to get a big lead in this game, especially in the first half. That is their focus. Win this game in the first half. They'll be up by more than 10.5. The Browns may not score in the first half. I also like the Packers minus 6.5. They're playing the Bears in Green Bay. The Packers have been awesome lately, especially at home, and especially playing teams that are worse than them. The Bears are far worse than them. The Bears really, really, really struggle in the first half. They really do. And they got to go to Green Bay, tough place to play, and they're just completely outmatched. They've given up. They have guys out. Packers are going to cover that 6.5 in the first half. The Bears probably come back at some point in the third or fourth quarter, probably the fourth quarter, but we don't have to worry about that here. First half. I know this isn't really a spread. It's not a line with the Jets money line. I love the Jets +1 against the Dolphins. Remember, Tyler Huntley is playing. It's not Tua. That's not a great Dolphins team. I know they beat the Browns last week. It's the Browns. The Jets put up fights. They probably should have beat the Dolphins with Tua in there last time. They're not as bad as their record. They just can't finish games. But going against a team that they're much better than while at home, they're going to win this game. So, if I follow the rules, I put +1 here for the spread, but just take a money line there. Pretty good odds, obviously, for the Jets. I do like them to win the game, and I am leaning with a few over here, but I like those ones a lot more for picks against the spread. Straight up locks. I got 3 of them. We'll go with the Ravens against the Browns on this, the first game of the week. On Saturday, the Packers at home against the Bears, and then the Bucks at home against the Saints. Ravens are all these teams are going to win big. They're going to win big. The one that could be a little sketchy is the Bucks because the Saints typically do beat them in Tampa, it feels like, and the Bucks need to win to get in the playoffs. But man, this Saints team, what they're putting on the field right now is pretty bad. The Bucks are rolling right now. I just don't see how the Saints can keep up scoring. So those are my 3 favorites, in terms of just straight up locks to win. And we've been pretty good on those this year in general with our picks. If you see all my picks in the pick show video, which is up for this week, and then the ones that we've used for this video for locks, 34-4 on the last 38. So been doing pretty good. The Colts did let us down last week, but those are 3 I'm going with for week 18. Don't forget to subscribe, turn notifications on, click that like button while you're at it. We're not done yet, even though the regular season's done. We got full playoff coverage on the way. We're going to have mock drafts, that offseason coverage rolling out. Going to regrade the NFL draft, the first round of the NFL draft, rookie rankings, a lot more. Total lock, just going with 2 team totals. I like the Colts this week. Maybe a lot of people don't, but because of last week, but they scored last week. They'll be able to score points against the Jags in Indy. They're going to cover that 23.5 over. And the Vikings going against the Lions defense. 27.5 is pretty high, but two things. The Vikings offense is one of the best in football right now. They score. It's hard to account for all those weapons. Sam Darnold's playing very well. And the Lions defense is really, really struggling right now. I think the key to stop this for the Lions is roll out there with a bunch of unpredictable zone coverages because they run a ton of man while they're a little beat up right now. So the Vikings should hit that over. I mean, both teams should hit over that. It should be a shootout there in Detroit in the biggest game of the year. So Colts, Vikings, team total overs is what I'm going with. Couple parlays that I like, and we'll have you kept up to date. Any last second changes or any bonus bets on our X/Twitter, so make sure to follow that. But the safer parlay, the good parlay that I really, really like, the Packers money line just got to beat the Bears. Colts money line, I'm pretty confident with the Colts this week. That could blow up in my face, but home against the Jags, won 5 of the last 6 in that scenario, and the better team, and they're pissed off last week. The Jets, and this is where you gamble a little bit because the Jets and the Dolphins are favored. I think the Jets beat Tyler Huntley, so you could say it's a 50-50 game, but this is where you boost the odds a little bit with the Jets. So I'm going to go with those 3 teams. Of course, we could throw some of the teams that are locks in here, but it's terrible odds. And for just 3 games that are very, very realistic, 247 is pretty good. Now, something to keep an eye on. Saturday, the Pittsburgh Steelers will play the Cincinnati Bengals. And if the Steelers lose that game, then the Chargers have a shot to get the 5 seed. So keep an eye on the Steelers game on Saturday. If they lose, I'm adding the Chargers money line to this parlay. Those are my 4 favorite money line picks because of odds and because who I think is going to win. But if the Steelers win the game on Saturday, Chargers really don't have anything to play for. So I wouldn't trust it fully. They could play backups to kind of stay healthy. We'll see. So that's why I put in there add LAC, that's the Chargers, with a Pittsburgh loss on Saturday. And the Chargers don't play till later on Sunday. So that's fantastic. And here's one I really liked. And it's a little risky, of course. It's just 2 games for plus 320. You could go even crazier with this one, but 2 underdogs that I think very realistically could win the game. I have them picked, and I didn't want to throw the Jets in here because you could if you want. If you're not doing that first bet and you like the Jets, maybe throw the Jets in this one, but since we already are betting on the Jets in the first one, let's not double down on that. But Texans money line, I thought they're going to play their backups the full game. We actually might see some starters that just so they, maybe they want to get a rhythm going. Beat the Titans this time around. Titans are really, really bad right now. I think the Texans backups can beat them. Davis Mills is a pretty solid backup quarterback. Dameon Pierce gets some action maybe. But Titans are, I don't know if they want to win. They're playing for the first pick. They're switching quarterbacks apparently within this game, maybe a couple times. So I don't know. So I like the Texans. And the Patriots are playing the Bills. They are underdogs, but the Bills are going to trot out their starters or at least Josh Allen for a series maximum. That's maximum. So then you got the Bills backups in against the Patriots starters. Now, don't bet on this if Drake May is not going to play, but he's been limited. I think that means he'll play. They're supposed to play their starters. So I think the Patriots beat the Bills backups at home. So for plus 320 for 2 games. Now, again, you could use the Jets. We've already used it in the other bet. But another one I talked about in this video, the Niners. I am feeling the Niners this week. And that if you add the Niners to this, it really boosts the odds. So this is a little safer. But again, I have the Texans winning, I have the Patriots winning, I have the Niners winning, I have the Jets winning. Those are 4 underdogs. Now, am I going to be 100% right? Maybe. You could say probably not, but you got to pick the right ones there. So just kind of use your thoughts at the same time. But those are a couple parlays that I do like. I've been, tinkering around with some alternate lines, so we'll have more leading up to game time on our Twitter, so make sure you follow that. Anytime touchdown picks, I like some of these plus options here, and we've been doing very well on those during the season. The plus options, just single leg bets, for plus odds there. But let's start with the obvious ones. Bijan Robinson's going to score. He's going to score against the Panthers. He might score twice. My 2+ touchdown picks have not only had a few when I've bet on them. They haven't gone great, but I'm tempted with that one. The Panthers are just god-awful stopping the run, number 32 in football. It's going to be Bijan, and more Bijan in that game. He's going to go off. Bet on his over. Bet on a touchdown, maybe 2. Josh Jacobs against the Bears. The Bears are struggling to stop the run lately. It's in Green Bay. He's been a touchdown machine. They're trying to get the 6th seed. They're not settling for that 7th seed. They want to get momentum going into the playoffs. Give me Josh Jacobs. Bucky Irving surprisingly didn't score last week because they were going Mike Evans. They might do it again. He's trying to hit some incentives with yardage, not necessarily touchdowns. But the Saints are much better defending the pass than they are stopping the run. They're really bad stopping the run. Bucky's fresh. He's young. They're not worried about him getting banged up. He should score. JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, there's no line on him yet anywhere, but it's one I really, really like. So he actually could be a plus odds option. It's a possibility, but he torched the Rams last time, and now you're factoring in the Rams are supposed to play some backups in this game just to stay healthy for the playoffs. JSN, young guy, looking to end the year off, how he's kind of been going. Like, he's been on fire. So I like for him to score. I'm very curious about the odds. I've been trying to find it right now. It's not there. Plus options, T. Higgins plus 110. He was a touchdown machine last week. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be one again, but this is it. I think this could be Saturday. The Bengals are going all out to maybe get in the playoffs, and this could be it for T. Higgins. It sounds like he'll go elsewhere because he's going to get an insane payday, as he should. So a touchdown to end his career possibly with the Bengals. Courtland Sutton, we hit on him last week. I like him again. The Chiefs are supposed to play backups. Now, the Chiefs defense could be a little sneaky even with backups in there, but it's hard for me to imagine a backup corner going out there and just going one-on-one because the Chiefs, remember, run a lot of man coverage. And typically when you put backups in, you want to simplify things for them, so you run more man coverage. Hard for me to picture a backup corner just manning up Sutton in the red zone, in the end zone. It's a very difficult thing for a starting corner to do. So give me Courtland Sutton. I love that one. Plus 115. We hit on that last week. Monter St. Brown, I'm surprised he's plus 100. The Vikings struggled with JSN a couple weeks ago. St. Brown is another star slot receiver, better actually. So I'd imagine he finds the end zone with the line's ability to score rapidly and often. Jawan Jennings, no line on him yet. I like him. It's going to be something good, I think. It's going to be some really good odds. Do we even sniff plus 200 plus there? He's got Dobbs, former Tennessee Volunteer, with him at the quarterback position, but also Shannon even said it. They're trying to get Jennings to reach 1,000 yards, and here's your opportunity. A game does not matter. I think he's a guy that you can kind of throw the ball up to. He's a really good contested catcher. So Dobbs could have those scenarios where he needs to do that. I like that one. I'm very curious what the odds are going to be. I couldn't find it quite yet, but that's one to keep an eye on. And we're always finding more of these leading up to game time, more odds, more lines come out. So we always tweet them leading up to game time there for the Saturday games, for the Sunday games. So we'll find the right ones here. I've really enjoyed betting this year, but specifically on touchdowns, and even more specifically, just doing single legs, taking it easy. You don't always have to be a parlay. Single leg plus odds. You do quite a few on a week, and they've done pretty well. So really like those ones. We're going to keep monitoring these lines this week. So join us on our X/Twitter. And the best college football pick that is coming up, I'm going to go at Minnesota minus 8.5. Last week, man, we kind of got screwed last week. I had Miami. It was my favorite one of bowl season, and it was looking really good until Cam Ward decided to sit out in the second half. That was very unfortunate. They almost covered without Cam Ward in the second half, so I like to think it would have been free. So we kind of got screwed on that one. That's tough. I'm sure a lot of you tailed on that one, so it is a little tough here. But I like the Gophers on this one. I got a couple more picks coming. For our Twitter subscribers, we actually hit a playoff parlay yesterday it was a little sweaty with Texas, using a couple picks from Texas and the over on Ohio State, Oregon. How about those Buckeyes? Man, Big Ten looks pretty good here. We're rolling with the Big Ten on this one. Oh, and something I want to point out, a lot of you know I'm a Vikings fan. Sometimes people get confused and think I'm a Minnesota Gophers fan. I'm not. I'm a Notre Dame. I'm actually wearing a Notre Dame hoodie. So I'm not being biased with the Gophers here on this one. Not that I would do that anyways, but I just wanted to clear that up because sometimes people are like, in the comments, they think I'm a Minnesota fan as well. I am not. Just the Vikings. But I do like the Golden Gophers minus 8.5 against Virginia Tech. I actually love it for several reasons here. It is a big line. It started off on 5.5. I talked about it for Twitter subs weeks ago. So if you got it 5.5, congratulations. That should be an absolute lock. But few reasons I like it. Number one, Minnesota's a better team. This is a good football team, despite their record not really fully showing it. They put up good fights with teams. They surprised and won upsets at times this year. I like the way they ended the year against Penn State, even though they kind of choked it a little bit. There was a fake punt that really cost them that game, but they outplayed Penn State in that game. Penn State's a really good football team. So Minnesota, very balanced. They play offense, they play defense, they can throw the ball, they can run the ball. They only have one starter that is transferred, one starter that is out in this game, while Virginia Tech has quite a few. They have quite a few that are out, and they have a quarterback situation. We're still waiting to see who starts, but a couple injuries there, a lot of guys out. So that gives the Gophers, that gives Minnesota the edge, but Minnesota's just a better team. If you gave me this Minnesota minus 8.5 against Virginia Tech during the regular season, everyone's fully healthy, I'm leaning towards Minnesota in that one, even with everyone fully in, fully playing, fully invested. So now you factor in they have the edge because who's out, the injuries at the quarterback position. I really like Minnesota in this one. On top of that, the Big Ten looks better than ever right now. The Big Ten is dominating. And Minnesota, if you watch them, they're a pretty good team. The record doesn't fully show that. And then if you look at the ACC is real, where Virginia Tech's coming from. They are really struggling this year. So all those reasons I like Minnesota. It is a little tricky because 8.5 is a big line. You're kind of counting on them to win by 9 or 10 is a realistic thing. I think it's very realistic. So it is a little tough that the line got raised by 3 there, but for all those reasons, I like Minnesota in this one. I have a pick that I'm gonna like. I haven't posted yet, but for Buffalo and Liberty playoff games, always trying to cook up a parlay. Again, we hit on one with combining some Texas lines. Well, we had Texas minus 3.5, and we had Texas over 29.5. We kind of got lucky on those. The way the game started, and the way the game should have went. And because Texas hit the brakes a little bit, all that should have covered easily. So we got unlucky, then we got lucky, and then we had the Ohio State-Oregon over, which seemed to be very, very easy, even though the game didn't go exactly how we thought. But so maybe more of those with the remaining playoff games. We got the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame-Georgia game coming up. That game should be really close, possibly the under in that one. It should be a defensive game. A little bit of a mystery. Some people think Georgia could get better with the quarterback changes because it's not really a change. Beck got injured. Is that realistic, though? So it's a little bit of a mystery is my point on that one. But I like Minnesota for the next bowl lock. But that will do it for our weekly locks video. Let me know your guys' locks, which ones you're riding with me, and which ones you don't like. Let me know in the comments. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, link pin in the comments. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.